Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are finally doing the one full year since I have been off the birth control pill. Now, I made several videos about this before, about how I wanted to go off the birth control pill. I made another video talking about being off the pill for 6 months. So now I thought it was appropriate to do my 1 year off birth control video. We're just going to be talking about the things I've noticed, some changes. Am I going to go back on the birth control pill? So if you guys want to know my experience, in case any of you are going through this journey with me, or if you are considering going off of the pill, let's go ahead and jump right into this. First, I just want to say I am not a doctor. Make sure that if you are going to make any drastic decisions to change your health, make sure you always consult your doctor first. Also, just be aware that everyone's experience with this is different. The way it happened with me may not be the same for you guys. So just kind of keep that in mind. I'm just going to be going over my own personal experience and my own personal journey. So just wanted to get that out of the way. Let's go. So in my last video, when I talked about going off the birth control pill, I talked a lot about how my periods basically came back the exact same way that they were before I ever went on birth control. So that obviously means way more pain. My cramps were very intense, very heavy bleeding. I've also experienced my periods being longer, sometimes lasting up to 8 to 9 days, which typically the average period will last 4 to 7 or 5 to 7 or however many days your own cycle is. So basically, ever since I've been off the birth control pill, about every 24 to 28 days, I would get my period around the same time, and I would get really bad cramps, really extreme cravings for food. The bleeding would be extremely heavy. And one thing that I did also notice is around the 6-month mark, my periods were very heavy, like the whole time, whereas now they are extremely heavy, but they're only heavy for the first 2 days, and then they kind of lighten up. So that's one thing that I have noticed in the past 6 months since I did my last video on this. But they do last a little bit longer. They will start out kind of like spotting, and then it comes the really heavy days, and then it'll be lighter as it goes on. But one thing is for sure is that my periods do tend to show up around the same time every single month, which is kind of the main reason why I got off birth control in the first place, because the pill that I was on, which was the microgestin, that made my period extremely irregular. Sometimes I would get 3 periods in a month. I would never know when my last full period was, because sometimes I would get one that was kind of a period but kind of not, and then other times I wouldn't get one at all. So that pill just made me extremely irregular, and that's kind of why I made the decision to go off of it. And it was just making me feel kind of like lethargic. And ever since I've been off that pill, my periods do show up generally around the 14th of every month, give or take a couple of days. Some days it's a little bit early, some days it's a little bit late, but that is nothing compared to what it used to be. So I will definitely take or lose a couple of days for sure. Another thing that I thought was interesting is when I was on the birth control pill, me and my sister were actually on the exact same cycle. So we would have our periods at the exact same time, same length of time, everything. And I noticed that when I did get off the pill and my cycle was starting to change, my cycle changed by 2 weeks. So when my sister has her period, that means I am 2 weeks away from getting mine. I don't really know when that happened or how that happened, but that's just how my cycle kind of retimed itself, is it kind of just, you know, was a little fucked up for a couple of weeks, and then it's been the same ever since. Another really good thing that I've noticed about being off the birth control pill, which is kind of weird, I have had a much higher sex drive. Now that's not uncommon, because typically one of the side effects of the birth control pill, at least in some, is that it can really kind of lower and kill your sex drive, which kind of seems kind of redundant, right? Because you take birth control so you can have sex without worrying about a pregnancy, but if you have no sex drive, you know what I mean? It's just kind of weird. So yes, ever since I have been off the pill, I have had a much higher sex drive. Obviously, when I am sexually active, I am using condoms because I am not on any sort of birth control, and I am not interested in trying to conceive a baby at the moment. So I am using protection for sure. Make sure that when you do go off the pill that you start using a backup method right away, whether that be diaphragms or condoms or, you know, whatever. A couple other things that I noticed about being off off the birth control pill is I am going to be 26 this year, and I do notice myself kind of getting baby fever, kind of like having more of like a motherly instinct, like I kind of want to have a baby. But you know, I feel like that's just like an age thing, and I feel like that's just like the chemicals in my brain are just like, you need to have a baby, like your womb is ready, like, you know what I mean? So I have been having quite a bit of baby fever, but there's no plans for any sort of conceiving in the near future. It's just something that I've noticed, like I see a baby and I just kind of get that feeling of like, ooh, like I want a baby, you know what I mean? That's another thing I noticed. Another thing that I thought was interesting is my boobs have gotten smaller. Now, don't get me wrong, my chest size has always been very, very small, but I will say when I was taking the birth control pill, I was like a solid 34, 36A. And since being off the birth control pill, my boobs have gotten smaller to the point where I don't need a bra at all anymore, basically. Like, if I do wear one, it's like a 32A, or it's just like a little like training sports bra kind of thing. I had to throw away quite a few of my bras that no longer fit, because when I would wear them, there would be like this big gaping gap, like where my boobs used to fit, and now they don't. I haven't noticed any sort of weight gain. I have lost a little bit of weight, but nothing to the point where it's scary. I know some people also do lose and gain weight, but I haven't experienced anything like that. I've never really had that much of an issue with my weight. My weight has always just kind of stayed placid and the same, like it hasn't really moved, and if it does, it's only by like a couple of pounds or something like that. Another good thing is I haven't noticed any more hair loss, because when I first went off of the birth control pill, I was losing quite a bit of hair. Again, that is also something that's very normal. It is something to be expected. So if you are considering going off the birth control pill, just kind of keep in mind that you do run the risk of possibly losing some hair. Just when I would brush it, I would notice a lot more would fall out than usual. I do shed quite a bit. Usually my hair ends up everywhere and anywhere. As far as like my PMS symptoms go, when it comes to like my period and things like that, is my PMS is pretty much the same, if not worse. My mood swings are pretty drastic, my anger, my depression, because sometimes like a week before my period shows up, I tend to feel a little bit kind of like down in the dumps and just kind of like depressed a little bit. And another thing that I am really struggling with right now is acne. When I first went off the birth control pill, I had obscene, and I mean obscene amount of acne. Like if you go back on my vlogs from like October of 2018, like my acne was out of control, and then my face cleared up, my body cleared up, and then about 4 or 5 months ago, I noticed that my acne has come back full force. Now I know you can't see it on camera right now because I have a cake face on right now to cover it, but I've just been breaking out in really strange places that I've never broken out before. Like I'm breaking out on my neck really bad. I mean, I know you can't see it because I tried to cover it, but I break out in my neck. I'm breaking out in like my beard area, I guess you could say, which I'm pretty sure this area is all like hormonal acne, but that's really bad. My chest is bad. I'm breaking out on my stomach, on my back. My back is absolutely horrendous. So that's one thing that I had not been enjoying about this journey, is all of the acne. It has been driving me nuts. It's really kind of killing my self-esteem because, you know, it's summertime right now and I really want to go swimming, but I just can't stand the way I look in a bikini because I am broken out everywhere. Like I even have breakouts on my thighs. Like that's how bad it is. Like I am just covered in zits and acne, and it's not pretty, it's not cute. So that's one thing, that's probably the number one thing that I don't like about not being on the pill. When I was on the pill, I was still breaking out, but it was just like really bad right before my period, and then as soon as my period would start, it would go away and I would have clear-ish skin. So that's just an update as to what's been going on in the past year of being off the pill. Now, as far as going back on the birth control pill, I do have my regular scheduled, you know, pap exam, breast exam, you know, that womanly doctor's appointment that we all look forward to. I am considering going back on the birth control pill just because I do want to try to get control of my acne, and the heavy bleeding that I do have, because when I mean heavy, I mean I go through a super maxi pad in about an hour. That's how much I bleed, and I'm going to end up anemic if I don't get that under control. So I am considering going back on birth control pill, and also I am regularly sexually active with someone at the moment. I know that kind of seems TMI, but you know, we're all girls here, we're all guys, you know, we can talk about this kind of stuff, it's all human. I just want to take that extra precaution because I am not ready at the moment to have a baby, so I just kind of want that regular protection of the pill to make sure that I don't have any unwanted pregnancies. I mean, don't get me wrong, if I did get pregnant, you know, awesome, no problem, but just right now I just kind of want to be a little bit safer about it. And yes, I do want to go back on the actual pill. I do know there are many different ways of birth control, like the IUD, the shot, the patch, the Nexplanon, the NuvaRing, you know, whatever you call it. But personally, I am not interested in any way, shape, or form in any of those other methods. I am someone who is very comfortable taking the pill. I'm responsible enough to take the pill. I take it at the same time every single day. I never miss a day. Even the little sugar pills, I always take those. So I just feel more comfortable for me to go back on the actual birth control pill. So I haven't fully made up my mind yet if I'm going to. I'm going to talk to my doctor and see what would be a good pill, because the last two that I tried just didn't work out for me. The first one gave me god-awful headaches, and the second one made me really lethargic and really kind of irregulated my cycle. So, and I don't want either of those things to happen again. So I will be talking to my doctor, but I may go back on it for at least a couple more years. But again, that's just my own personal decision, my choice. A lot of other people out there have done similar videos like this where they're getting off the pill and things like that, and everyone has a different experience. So if you found that my experience wasn't similar to yours, there are tons of other people out there who have done videos very, very similar to this. But regardless, I hope this gave you guys a full and complete update. Hopefully this was helpful for you. If you guys did find this helpful, make sure you go down and give me a huge thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments if any of you have had any similar experiences with the birth control pill. I know we had quite a bit of conversation on my last video, but if you've noticed any changes or any updates and you feel comfortable sharing, just go down and let me know in the comments and we can have a little discussion there. Also, if you are new to my channel, I just want to welcome you. Make sure you go down and hit that red subscribe button. I do upload every 3 to 4 days on this channel. Also, make sure you check out all of my social medias as well. But as always, I will see you guys very, very soon in my next video. I love you guys. Bye! Always practice safe sex.